What's going on, everybody? It's episode 39 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside my co-host, the man who would be totally okay with millions of people losing their jobs for AI, Devroro. How you doing today, Devroro?
That's not what I said. What I remember, a man who has hearing problems can't remember something that happened 1 week ago. But okay,
That's what I remember. I
I
don't know.
know it's convenient.
We also have producer Jeff here. Producer Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
Doing good. We have a really jam-packed show here tonight. We got Tears of the Kingdom's not getting DLC. Nintendo Direct's happening this week, and people are reacting to Starfield in quite weird ways, Deborah. But we'll get to Starfield later. For now, let's dive into the news headlines. Number one on the headlines, this past week, it was revealed via a Famitsu interview with The Legend of Zelda. I guess he's the director now. He's basically the head of the franchise. Eiji Aonuma. He basically went on record saying that there won't be any DLC coming for Tears of the Kingdom. So, he went on to say that there are no plans to release additional content at this time. But that's because I feel like I've done everything I can to create games in that world in the first place. The reason why we chose this time as a sequel to the previous game is because we thought there would be value in experiencing a new kind of play in that place in Hyrule. Then, if such a reason is newly born, it may return to the same world again. Whether it's a sequel or a new work, I think it will be a completely new way to play, so I'd be happy if you could look forward. I know that's just a translation, but at the end it sounds so passive aggressive. It's like I would really appreciate.
Yeah.
But
What I mean, like you
how
said,
do you feel about this? Were you looking forward to possible Tears of the Kingdom DLC? You're still playing
I
Tears of the
guess,
Kingdom.
I guess, yeah, but also, I'm saying it like we did everything we could do, and we're done. And if anything else, if we come up with any new ideas, we'll see them in future Zelda games. So no, I guess we don't need a DLC.
Yeah,
If you really told the full story.
Yeah, like when he came out and said this, I actually really agreed with it the more I thought about it.
Yeah.
Where it's just like this sequel does take place in the same overworld. It does follow a lot of things. I think it's better than Breath of the Wild in a lot of ways. Almost every way, in fact. But I mean, I can understand them looking at this and saying like, well, what more can we do in this world? Maybe it's just time to move on to the next one.
Yeah, don't force it.
Yeah.
Save cool ideas and better storylines. Future Zelda game.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to whatever comes in the future for Zelda. Because also I know that if there's no DLC, that means we're going to be that much sooner to getting these ports that are in the vault.
So yeah, I was gonna say if the guy's telling us he's done everything he can in that world, like, I'm like, okay, I believe you. On to the next.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially after me personally visiting through both games and pretty much not 100% completing them, but getting almost everything in the games. Yeah. I'm not sure what else you could do in this world either. So makes sense. Moving right along, Devroro. Skull and Bone. Are you ready for an update on Skull and Bones? You are the most excited person for Skull and Bones in the world. I don't think there's anyone else. I don't see anyone
Not in the world, but definitely in that group. A group of people we know, yeah.
Well, so I'm sure you're looking forward to my update that I have for you. That Skull and Bones has lost another creative director and is also facing a union campaign. Ubisoft's Open Sea Pirate Fantasy from Hell has lost its third creative director. Kotaku has learned that Elizabeth Pellin, who began working with the Skull and Bones team back in 2018, has left Ubisoft Singapore to return to the French publisher's Paris headquarters earlier this summer. The game's long-awaited closed beta recently received mixed reactions, and Kotaku now understands that Ubisoft Singapore faces an organized labor campaign by the country's creative media and publishing unit. A lot is riding on the big-budget blockbuster, especially as Ubisoft cuts costs following an anemic 2022 release slate. Along with the Crew Motorfest, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Skull and Bones is one of four major games Ubisoft has touted at its big summer showcase. To reverse recent misfortunes and changes that led to a flurry of internal projects, including a sequel to Immortals: Phoenix Rising, which we talked about, which sounded really good. Devroro, how are you feeling about this?
Hard hit.
Think the game's gonna be good?
Who knows?
Oh wow, you've changed your stance a little bit.
No, I mean I want it to be good. It's like
Well, that's not the question. I want all games. Do you think this game's gonna be good?
From the last thing I've seen, It'll be okay. They have like basic full game. I don't know. Like, I didn't play a beta or anything, so I don't know what exactly.
Well, there was a beta.
Yeah, yeah.
And it got mixed review. People kind of like, some people liked it, some people didn't.
So I have to assume they improved on things that people didn't like. That's what you do. That's why you have these. So
yeah, I mean, Skull and Bones. Ubisoft has a lot riding on it. They've canceled a lot of projects while not canceling this product.
yeah.
So, well, I mean, there is also that whole thing where apparently they have to put it out because of like an agreement with the Singapore government.
You would think they would just put it out and just move on, but like they're working on it.
No, they're trying. They're really trying.
I don't want it to. I don't want any game to.
I don't want a game to fail either, except for Alan Wake 2.
I don't want that to.
I want that to.
Or live in the past, the sticks and stones.
I mean, look, man, you reap what you sow, you know, treat others the way you want to be treated. You know, you treat me like a customer like that, you alienate me as a customer.
They didn't alienate you.
I hope you fail.
You have 3 consoles and a laptop. They did not alienate.
Speaking of alienating a fan base, Devroro, there's a Nintendo Direct this week. Not confirmed by Nintendo.
I told you that last week.
I know you did.
Yeah.
You were right.
Yeah.
No, I never doubted you. Not about Nintendo Directs anyway. Other things, sure, not Nintendo. So, there were some leaks this week, or teases, I guess. No, they're both leaks and teases. Twitter user Pioro, who has a well-known track record of Nintendo leaks, including leaking Super Mario Brothers Wonder before it got announced. He went on Twitter and he said, "Hey, look," because I follow him. He's like, "If you don't want to know anything about this Nintendo Direct, mute me for a few days." And so he tweeted 2 things of note. Number 1, he said, "Let's just say fans of a certain MATLAB function will be happy with the upcoming Direct." Now, to kind of break it down and explain it, MATLAB is a programming and numeric computing platform used by millions of engineers and scientists to analyze data, develop algorithms, and create models. Are you aware of MATLAB?
Yeah, I had to use it.
Because you work with it, right? Yeah.
I don't use it now, but I had to use it.
Yeah. Well, so anyways, one of the functions, F-Zero. So, obviously, he's kind of teasing the return of F-Zero, the long dormant racing franchise. There has been an F-Zero game GameCube.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that? You looking forward to possibly getting some F-Zero?
I mean, sure, why not? They're finished with Mario Kart in what, October?
Yeah.
December? Whatever the last thing comes out. From Mario Kart, I think.
Now, there was another tease that Pioro put out. And so this one was a GIF of Donkey Kong from the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay.
So people were like, "Oh, Donkey Kong?"
I mean, it's been a while for Donkey Kong, too.
It has been. At this point, everybody's getting a game on the Switch except for Star Fox.
Yeah.
It's because Star Fox Zero was terrible. But
F-Zero is some of my favorite racing games of all time.
F-Zero is really dope. It is a really dope racer.
People do miss it. I think I told you Hot Wheels 2. It got people were playing it behind doors and it said it plays like F-Zero. Like it feels like the creators of it wanted to feel like F-Zero a little bit. So I think that's cool. People are chasing that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have the Switch be around for 8 years, you might as well use all of your IP. And I don't see why you wouldn't. So yeah, that's the rumors about the Nintendo Direct coming this week. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's coming. Do you have any ideas of maybe anything that we haven't talked about that we might see? Maybe a surprise announcement or a game?
I'm hoping we see or hear about the Super Switch, as we call it here. What else? Game-wise?
Yeah, game-wise. I don't think we're going to see anything about the Super Switch. I think they might not, I don't know if they'll end the Direct, but they might say...
They might tease it or something?
They might say, hey, we're currently getting ready to unveil our next console. Stay tuned for future Direct. And then the next Direct, which would be the March Direct, we'll hear about. That'll be the...
Yeah, and I don't have any other, like, predictions.
The one game that just continues to come to mind for me is Metroid Prime.
I think you want to launch. I think that's a launch title.
I do too, but part of me was wondering the other day if they want to let that game fall to the next console, because I mean they announced it at the reveal of the Switch.
But then they started it over.
They did start it over, and I get that, but I feel like
what you mean.
I think it's a Breath of the Wild type situation where it's like they announced this game for the Wii U, Breath of the Wild. They announced Breath of the Wild for the Wii U. They were like, we're putting it out on the Wii U. It's not the way to play it, but we're gonna put it out. So I could see Nintendo kind of doing something similar here. I mean, for me, they announced Metroid Prime 4 for the Switch. So I just think that Nintendo's going to follow through with that promise.
I know that they're saving software for whatever's next. I remember when Ubisoft came out with the Mario Rabbids 2, Nintendo was like, you should have waited. They urged them to wait until the next Switch. So I wonder if like they're just holding on to games that, and based off the stuff you told me before the podcast, it was like kind of a leak, I guess, about what the specs are.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
That seems like something you would want to wait for, that kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's a first-person shooter, so
yeah. So I'm hopeful that this is going to be an eventful direct. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I would say
I'm not hopeful because again, it's a Nintendo direct. Like
the Nintendo directs usually deliver. It's the Pokemon directs that don't. It's the Pokemon directs that are god awful.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, other than that, I would say expect to see more, probably a little bit more from Mario Wonder. Probably a little bit more about. I don't know if you see more about the Peach. Yeah, I guess they did a whole direct. They'll probably, they're gonna put a trailer.
The Peach game makes more sense because we don't showed like 5-second clip from.
So. Right. Yeah, for sure. I don't know, but so I would say look out for that official announcement of the direct happenings probably tomorrow for the direct to actually happen on Wednesday. They usually do Wednesdays for directs, but Thursday would be nice too. So, like I said, keep an eye out for an official announcement. But many leakers and insiders have come out and said like, yes, there is a direct happening. So at this point, it would probably be a big shock to most.
I didn't know why.
Okay. Ty in the chat says they could double dip for Metroid Prime 4, but I do wonder if it's too powerful for the Switch. Nintendo have skipped platforms before. Star Fox Adventures and Eternal Darkness were N64 games. So was Animal Crossing. And Earthbound. I think. No, not Earthbound. They made an Earthbound game for the N64, but they scrapped it. But yeah, Animal Crossing started out as an N64 game too. In fact, I think it came out in Japan for the N64 before they were like, GameCube. Let's put this on. I agree, Ty. I mean, we'll have to see. I at least want to see an update on Metroid Prime 4. I mean, it's been long enough where you got to show us something. I'm not saying I need like all the information in the world or anything like that. We got to show us something. Number 4 on the headlines. Nintendo actually demoed this new. The article says Switch 2, but we don't have an actual name for it, so we're just going to keep calling it the Super Switch because I think it should happen. Nintendo demoed the Super Switch to developers behind closed doors at Gamescom last August. Not a lot of details coming out of that there. But Nate the Hate, who's a well-known insider, did mention today that it was the new system has Breath of the Wild running at 4K, 60 FPS with absolutely no loading. And I think that that's a pretty good indication of what the console can do, considering how badly Breath of the Wild stutters on the Switch. So, I mean, again, it's an exciting time to be a Nintendo fan, even though they're winding down the Switch. There's a lot to look forward.
So more on that, I guess. This happened last week. I don't know if you saw it, but a leaker announced that Nintendo is working on VR related.
I did not see this.
It's separate from the Switch 2, so it's not like it's a standalone thing. They're working with Google. That was a partnership that was announced a while back. Google had bought a company called Raxium. They make screens. They make screens for. So it's rumored to have a micro LED screen. So far, that's all we know. We don't have any. These are like fun renders that people have.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Is the Super Switch a VR console?
I don't think so. I thought that before. I think they want to ride the Switch. I think the Switch will stay similar to how DS was. I think it's going to be here for a very long time, or the Switch format, I should say.
Okay.
I think VR would be separate. I don't think they would both, or I don't think they would get rid of the Switch.
Makes sense.
And Nintendo is always good with their software, so that just sounds
right. Moving on, number 5 in the headlines. For the PlayStation gamers, Roblox is finally coming to PlayStation 4 and 5. It's been out on pretty much everything else, including Xbox, for a long time, but I actually saw an argument
kind of like this. I mean, it kind of sucks for Xbox now. it was kind of like this where Xbox had Roblox and PlayStation had
Dreams.
not Dream, the MMO game that looks like Breath of the Wild, and that was kind of like I know Roblox is different.
Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact, yeah. Those are, I mean, it's the different style. Roblox is a very huge game.
See, I think Roblox. I mean, I could be 100% wrong on it, but whenever I think of Roblox, I just think of like kids playing it on phones.
Oh, absolutely.
And stuff. I like. Does the console, like, is there a console audience for Roblox?
Probably. I mean,
because you say it's like, oh, it's lost because Xbox has this, PlayStation has this, and I'm not saying Roblox isn't popular. I understand that almost every child on the planet plays it, but I mean, realistically, I've never seen a child who plays Roblox playing it on a game. It's always on the phone or a tablet.
When my little cousins come over, they do play Roblox.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, you can play it on phone, play it on anything. Feels like a web browser game.
Todd thinks that the Switch 2 needs to be significantly different from a power perspective. They need something more than this to be a hit than a simple upgrade. Yeah, well, I mean, I think Breath of the Wild running at 4K 60 frames with no loading time. That is a significant upgrade. If you've played Breath of the Wild on a Switch, golly gee, man, that console, it is chugging along when it's
That's
playing
actually kind of insane. 4K 60
with no loads.
No loading. I mean, like for handhelds in general, because a lot of the PC ones that I want to get, there's always like some type of flaw. Like it's a lot of UI issues and everything.
Mm-hmm.
This would be like just a Switch, a husky Switch. You know what I mean? And we don't need more than 4K 60 frames for a Nintendo Switch, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on to headlines. Something that really isn't a news headline, but Devroro, are you ready to receive 19 inches of Venom?
I don't know about that.
So somebody at the PlayStation marketing team did a really funny thing. And again, this isn't news. This is just, I wanted to share this with you, Devroro. So there's a Spider-Man 2 Special Edition, which comes with a 19-inch Venom statue. And PlayStation UK had the great idea to tweet out.
The statue looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it does. No, it does. But PlayStation UK says, treat yourself to 19 inches of Venom. And of course,
they had to have known what they were doing.
Of course, the internet ran with it. You mean the figurine, right? 19 inches. What do you mean? What do you mean?
That's funny.
So there, yeah,
I think they knew what they were doing. There's no way.
But so yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I had a good laugh, and as did a lot of people on the internet. IGN even had a little, my way to get those 19 inches. Like, but yeah, yeah, nah, this is wild. So yeah, fun stuff. Anyways, let's move on. Number 7, replaced the Xbox exclusive that was showed off, I believe at this point, a year and a half, 2 years ago at their Summer Games showcase, has been delayed. The upcoming Xbox console exclusive is getting pushed to 2024. Developer Sad Cat Studios announced the delay alongside a production date, stressing that the team do understand the game's scope and that the development is progressing at a steady pace. However, the high quality of its visuals, which includes more than 500 meticulously hand-painted animations made just for platforming, put the release behind schedule. Now, this game, Deborah, I'm sure you remember it, but this game, absolutely gorgeous. Just completely incredible looking. We watched this at some point. We watched all the showcases.
I don't remember it. Replace doesn't sound.
It's the one. It's like a very it's like a 2D. Hold on, it's about to come up on my screen. So you can see it.
Yo, Rome, just want to interrupt real quick. Aaron Rodgers is injured on his first series as a Jet.
I told everyone it wasn't going to work. Anyways, so this is the game. Let's see if I can remember this.
Okay, it's trying to look gorgeous.
Yeah, well, so everything is hand painted. All the animations are completely hand painted, and so they need more time to work on it. And it's coming to Game Pass when it comes out. I'm excited for it. Place looks great. Take the time you need. 2023 was already a packed year.
Yeah, take as much time as you need.
Let 2024 come around and be great as well.
Like it or not, human.
Speaking of 2024, next in the headlines, the Indiana Jones game. Full reveal is not coming until 2024. For those looking forward to Bethesda's Indiana Jones game, looks like you'll have to wait just a little bit longer. In an interview with Esquire, Todd Howard, executive director at Bethesda, was asked about the game that was first revealed in 2021. Unfortunately, Howard didn't have much to talk about. Instead, he alluded to next year as when players will get to see more. He says, quote, "I am a giant Indiana Jones. It can be brought to the video games in a unique way," Howard tells Esquire. But he refuses to go into details, only offering the game is obviously you're exploring. It's about him. So if you're playing the game, how do you feel that you are indeed playing versus just watching? So we're gonna have to wait till next year. We watch the Indiana Jones movies. I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. I love those movies.
Yeah.
So definitely excited. I didn't see the new one yet.
Yeah, we haven't.
It bombed, I think. It's okay. I'm just gonna wait for it to
I'll
come
still
to
watch
Disney
it.
Plus.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. But look forward to that. I think 2024 is going to shape up to be a pretty good year as well. Number 9 in the headlines. It was revealed today by Jason Schreier that embattled video game conglomerate Embracer Group is looking to sell Borderlands maker Gearbox 2.5 years after purchasing it for $1.3 billion. So here's the thing, Deborah. Gearbox is also going to explore spinning off and possibly going independent. Here's the thing about Embracer Group. So we've been talking about Embracer a few times on the show, right? And I've come to the conclusion that Embracer Group really went about this the wrong way in terms of trying to become a powerhouse in the games industry. They went out and they bought all these IPs and they bought all these studios and they bought all these publishers and tried, and then they wanted that Saudi deal, which fell through. And as soon as that Saudi deal fell through, now it's just like, what have you done with these IPs that you? What have you done with these studios that you know? Like it's insane. So
it is like it's hard to. I remember when it was happening with Microsoft. I think Microsoft has money behind it, so like things stayed behind. But like, remember when Lionhead Studio closed, and then Bungie left, and then there was another studio that closed. It's just like a Rare kind of like.
I think I see that as a different situation. Where like at least for a time, those studios were all putting out great work.
Oh sure,
and also those studios
but what Embracer is putting out good. It's just
not really. I mean,
they don't have the money behind it to keep it paying these developers. You can't just go out and buy everything, not be able to fund it.
You need to have a plan.
Yeah, you need to have a plan.
They didn't have a
plan. Even when you have a plan, things do fail. It's just
you gotta have a backup.
Yeah.
So now here's the big question. In your opinion, do you think that the Borderlands IP, because I mean, let's be honest with Gearbox, like they have other things that they own, but it's Borderlands.
Yeah.
Do you think Borderlands is worth $1 billion? Because I don't think it. I don't think it is.
So, Rome, what do you think the Saudis pulling out of the deal? How bad do you think that hurt the Embracer Group?
I think it really hurt them actually, because when they announced that the deal fell through, like in the investor call, I didn't actually hear the investor call, but all the people reporting on the investor call were saying how deflated, how just down the people reporting the call, like, and these people reporting the call are like the heads of Embracer, and like they were devastated. They were just like, this is terrible for us. We had, like they didn't even sugarcoat it. So yeah, I think that they were always anticipating the Saudis kind of helping them out, and when the Saudis pulled out, they lost that backbone. The money that they spent, they realized that it wasn't going to be recuperated for them. So now you're kind of left here without a plan. You had this plan where you were going to buy up all these IPs and go on not a fire sale, but I guess the reverse of just a spending spree. And it didn't pay off because you didn't have a plan with these IPs. When you look at Xbox and you look at how they acquired studios, number one, they're Microsoft. They have the money to throw around. But they had a plan with these developers. They bought, even before Bethesda, when they were buying all those smaller studios, like when they bought Undead Labs and like et cetera, like, and Double Fine, like these were all studios that had plans in place and they were working. And then like Bethesda, same thing. Activision, they're gonna have a plan in place for that as well. In fact, they already do. They had to defend it in court. So we already know that they have a plan for what they want to do with Activision. But I just think Embracer, man, they just didn't have a plan. Ty in the chat says Embracer bought random developers with no goal. And here's the truth. They didn't buy developers or games that would do numbers. Even Tomb Raider and Deus Ex isn't bringing in that kind of money. Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, they bought Tomb Raider. Like it's no joke, like, the things that they've purchased. Like, they went out and bought some really... See, I'm a believer in the Tomb Raider IP. I think we see with those remakes that happened the last gen that Tomb Raider definitely has some power to it and some value. More than Borderlands. I would absolutely say that it has more than Borderlands. And that's just going off of a gut feeling, of course. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Know.
I think Tomb Raider is a much better, more valuable IP than Borderlands.
I don't believe that, but I don't believe Borderlands is worth 1.3 billion.
Here's my counterpoint where I would say this is why I think that Tomb Raider is more valuable. If you walk up to people on the street who aren't video gamers, who aren't gamers, who don't know about video games and stuff like that, and you say, do you know who Claptrap is, or do you know who Lara Croft the Tomb Raider is?
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be people that don't play video games who know who the Tomb Raider is.
Absolutely.
But that's my point. It's more valuable than IP because it has that mainstream appeal. Anytime you can bleed into the mainstream with appeal, you're going to have more value.
But there's also, like, have things... For example, there's a Borderlands movie on the way starring Kevin Hart.
Which is apparently in production hell.
Yeah, but it's like there's 10 major actors. Like, one of the people I follow on podcast, Bobby Lee, he's in there. It's just like it's star-studded cast. So
no, for sure it is.
I think Borderlands is getting there. It's definitely more recent than Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those things where the first game, all 3 games are great, but they were kind of just more of the same thing. And
Maybe
it's
one of the
top story, and then also it's a multiplayer aspect with Borderlands and humor and like
the problem
like
is I'm really concerned for the movie. I don't think the movie's very good personally. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
there's not even a trailer yet, so I can't say that.
Right? No, I mean, again, just going off gut feeling completely. But
and one of the top female actresses on the planet played Tomb Raider.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. But I mean, we'll have to see what happens with Embracer. I mean, just the decline there continues. It really sucks that that Xbox still hasn't finished its acquisition of Activision yet, because I guarantee you there are a few things Xbox and Microsoft would probably love to buy off Embracer. Like, I guarantee you they would love to buy that Tomb Raider IP.
Or Gearbox.
Or Gearbox, yeah. No, Gearbox would be very well suited to Microsoft and Game Pass and
absolutely.
Yeah, that would be a great get by them. But you know that they're sitting there on their hands in Redmond, Washington. They're just like, we want to buy this stuff, but we can't. I wish they would. I would love to see Tomb Raider make a return.
We'll just talk to Embracer, like, hey, we can't do it right now. Give us 6 months or whatever. We'll buy it.
It's like, hey, just give us some.
Yeah.
Give us some. Ty says Borderlands 3 has quotation marks shipped. Okay. The quotation marks leads me to believe that there's a thought there. Let's move on though. Speaking of Xbox, next up on the headlines, Xbox has announced that they will be running another digital showcase at the Tokyo Game Show with a cool little... I like this logo actually a lot. I think that's really cool.
I was just going to say, whoever made this graphic gets an absolute thumbs up from me.
So the Xbox digital broadcast will be returning to the Tokyo Game Show on September 21st. That's going to be 2 a.m. Pacific time, which I believe is 5 a.m. Eastern time. Obviously, because they're in Tokyo.
Yeah.
The Tokyo Game Show represents a special time each year where Xbox shares news and updates on games that they hope will delight Xbox fans in Japan and across Asia. Now, for those who are probably sitting here like, well, what does this mean for us here in North America and the U.S., et cetera, et cetera? This is always a really big show for Game Pass Edition. Every year, there's always a lot of really exciting Game Pass announcements. I think that it would be really cool to kind of get,
There's been like rumors and stuff that this year, for the whole Tokyo Game Show in general, is supposed to be a big year.
You know who's skipping Tokyo Game Show?
Sony?
Yep.
That's very surprising. Nintendo's going to be there and Sony won't. That's insane.
Sony has just skipped all of these all these showcases this year. They weren't at Gamescom. I mean, they had their showcase for the
Summer Games
Fest, but that was terrible. That was a terrible showcase.
And
but so now they went back in their hole, and now they have nothing to show again. It's very concerning.
That's the one that I would be like, oh, you could skip Summer Games Fest if you're going to go to the other two. Skipping
Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
And so this is the thing, right? And this is where I always say perception is so important. And like at the end of the day, Xbox has had bad years. But like,
bad stretches.
I can't wait. And I'm gonna sit down, obviously in December, and we're gonna do our report cards for the big three, as we did last year. Well, I did it last year. You weren't part of the show at this. At the end of the year, we do report cards for Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation. We look at everything that they did. We come sit down and we give grades. And I'm really interesting to like. I'm very excited to look back at Xbox's year because like they show up at all of these showcases. Like they've had stuff to show at almost all of them. Like Tokyo Game Show, I'm not expecting any crazy announcements. Although it would be kind of cool considering that they own Tango Gameworks, which is a Japanese developer. It would be cool to get an announcement of what Tango's working on at the Tokyo Game Show showcase. Xbox has been making a push to do well in Japan and other Asian areas.
A
And
lot of catching up to do. So.
I think they're doing pretty good. I mean, for everything we read about the Series X and Series S seems like it's doing obviously not PlayStation or Switch numbers, but like
no, it's definitely
it's the most successful Xbox console in Japan.
Yeah,
like out of all the Xbox. So I mean, having that presence there is important, and kudos to them. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we got coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of Japanese exclusive games. I'm just reading what TJ is saying. He's like, he's been disappointed with Xbox Japanese showing late. Honestly, not enough Japanese games.
Well, so
Japanese exclusives.
so again, like I think, and that's a great.
And is Tango the only Japanese based company they own?
Yeah.
So like
it's just Tango Games right now.
It's hard for I feel like it's going to be harder for Xbox first party.
Yeah, well,
Japanese games. I don't expect them to have a lot.
I mean, here's the thing, and I think Ty needs to kind of acknowledge this, but like the way that Japanese culture works is like it's a very like kind of closed off, like very formal. Like Nintendo and Sony own a monopoly over there. So like I get it. Like it's hard for a Western company to go in there and just start lighting the Japanese market on fire in a good way.
Yeah.
But hey, man, like, look, like they had that new agreement with Square Enix about Final Fantasy's future on Xbox. Like, these updates are coming, and Phil Spencer and like even Sarah Bond goes on Twitter and says like, "Hey, I'm flew to Japan this past week. I'm meeting with developers across the country in Japan. Like, the Xbox team goes to visit Hideo Kojima. Phil Spencer shows up at the Final Fantasy showcase and announces the partnership with Final Fantasy. So I definitely think that there are things happening there. I understand Ty's criticism of it, but like you gotta look at what the effort they're putting out there. I mean, again, like
but I get what he's saying though. He's saying it's not there enough. It's not there yet. There's not enough.
No. There's definitely room to grow and room to improve.
That's why I keep saying and prove my point that if you like Japanese RPGs or Japanese games in general, own a PlayStation.
Right.
Thank you for proving my point.
I forgot that you did.
Thank you for proving my point.
I forgot that you did in fact say that Xbox.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Games.
It'll be there. It's coming. It's just
So can I do a little bit of fantasy, hoping for this?
Sure.
Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
I would love nothing more. So hear me out, right? Phil Spencer, he's standing there. He's like, we have one more thing to show. And it cuts, and you see the Xbox logo. It's like, boom. And they're walking. Cloud Strife. Final Fantasy VII Remake finally come next. That's what I want.
That's a good reason for Xbox to be there. You know what I mean? Like that's
a big announcement for them because Sony locked it down with that exclusivity. But again, Square Enix and Xbox, they have that deal in place now where they're like, hey, we're committing to bringing Final Fantasy to Xbox in the future. So I don't see why they wouldn't. But yeah, I'm excited for this. We always get good Game Pass games from the Tokyo game, so it's gonna be. Speaking of Japanese icons, AEW wrestler Kenny Omega has been challenged by MMA fighter, the one flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson, also known as Mighty Mouse, has challenged Kenny Omega. He's challenged Kenny Omega to a match in Street Fighter 6. Johnson said, "I would fuck him up in Street Fighter 6. I guarantee it." Johnson then immediately went into a promo against Omega, laying down his terms. He goes on to say, "Kenny Omega, people out there say you're one of the greatest at Street Fighter 6. But I'll put $100. Hell, I'll put $1,000. Street Fighter 6, me versus you, I guarantee I beat you. We could do 5 matches. Street Fighter 6, not modded controllers, classic. Balls in your court, Playboy." Kenny Omega would go on to respond. I actually don't think... No, so this article doesn't actually say it, but Kenny Omega does go on to respond. He does accept his challenge. He says... Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Okay, he says, "Anyone's free to insult my wrestling ability. But this cockamamie idea that you're better at Street Fighter than me, that makes it personal. For charity, I'll do it. Heck, I could even put you in touch with Xavier Woods. You guys can bond over being losers." Xavier Woods is a WWE wrestler who they've
Play
showed.
games.
Yeah, they
He's a
play
gamer.
games. Yeah. So Austin Creed, who was Xavier Woods, says, number 1, you got lucky. Number 2, y'all are both trash. Number 3, neither of y'all are man enough to play me in Tekken. Number 4, I got the place. We can all settle this on up, up, down, down. Now, obviously, Kenny Omega will never show up on down, down due to contract. It'd be great. Would love to see it, but it's not going to. Kenny responds, whoa. First things first, because I'm a busy guy,
I just want to
I
get this
style
clear.
a bit and tap dance all over DJ. After that, yeah, we could play Tekken. Tekken 8, even playing Field Buster. So yeah, it's all coming. It's all really exciting. If you're a pro wrestling fan or MMA fan, I think they actually said they're going to do it. Yeah, they're going to do it at Wrestle Dream, which is the next pay-per-view. It's happening in Seattle, Washington.
Mighty Mouse, one of my favorite fighters, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
That dude is incredible. Mighty Mouse Gaming is his gaming channel if you want to check him out.
So Jeff, who do you think is going to win that game of Street Fighter? Do you think Kenny's going to take it or Mighty Mouse?
Yeah, Kenny is like basically semi-pro, dude. He could be pro if he wants. But he did say on Classic Controller. So on Classic Controller, I don't know. Mighty Mouse might have the advantage because that's pretty much what he exclusively plays on right now. And I know Kenny uses his gamepad. So we'll see.
Next up on the headline, Baldur's Gate 3, the developer says that companions being aggressively horny was a bug, not a feature. Developer Larian told The Gamer that Baldur's Gate 3 came out with a bug that meant that the companions were too horny too soon in the player's relationship with them. Explosive wizard Gale is perhaps the most aggressively horny of Baldur's Gate 3 companions. He's very much up for a fun night at camp, pretty much as soon as you pull him out of his magic hole. I thought this was hilarious, and obviously when people were talking about Baldur's Gate 3, it was just like a lot of horny shit. Oh, okay, wow, this is a very horny game. But no, it was not by design. It was absolutely
I think that's been patched out already too. So
yeah, Larian boss Swen Vink told The Gamer that the companions' approval thresholds were set too low, which brought forward their interest in sex. That's why they're so horny. Explained Vink. Apparently, Larian has fixed the bug for some, but not all the game, which shows Larian's intention when it comes to relationships in the game. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't supposed to be this horny. It wouldn't be right in real life, Vinky said. There were a lot of people that enjoyed it, but it was too fast. It was supposed to simulate how real relationships are. Acting this way in real life would be problematic. Vinky had. Your thoughts on these words? Do you?
I just think it's funny.
It's hilarious, and hearing him have to explain it, like the stance, it's like, well, if you just kind of smash, it would be not realistic. It'd be very problematic.
Let's be real. They just wanted to see the speed runs to sex %.
Probably, and then they saw and they fixed it, and they're like, all right, time to patch this out. Now the nerds can come in and play the game. Gonna hopefully get to Baldur's. Don't know when.
It's a game high up on my.
Yeah. Speaking of games high up on people's lists, here's one that's going to be high up on producer Jeff's list in 2 years. Call of Duty 2025. Charlie Intel's reporting on a leak claiming that, much like Modern Warfare 3 this year, is bringing back all the MW2 2009 maps. Apparently, Call of Duty 2025 is going to incorporate the full collection of Black Ops 2 maps. Black Ops 2 maps, I would say a lot of great maps in Black Ops. Hijack is one of the best maps of all time in Call of Duty. There's other good ones too. I'd have to really go back and remember them because after all these years, they all kind of bleed together like the game maps. But
does that mean that is this already a hint that Black Ops make on the way?
Maybe. I mean, so the rumor also goes on to state that the 2025 COD is going to be a follow up to the 2024 COD, much like this year's is a follow up to last year.
So they're saying that they're saying it's a sequel.
Yes.
And you're saying they're gonna have Call of Duty Black Ops 2 map. So it makes me seem Black Ops 1 is coming next year.
Maybe. The Black Ops 2 maps are Aftermath, Cargo, Carrier, Drone, Express, Hijacked, Meltdown, Overflow, Plaza, Raid, Slums, Standoff, Turbine, and Yemen. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a hot take, but I think that Call of Duty map design has become so bad in recent years that it's like I'm at a point where this is what I want. I want them to just keep bringing back old. Like, and I think we talked about this on the last pod when we talked about Modern Warfare 3. If I recall, Jeff, I think you said you didn't agree with that stance. I don't recall if you said that or not, but I remember.
Got to go back to the days where Guy Beam was making the maps, you know?
I mean, yeah, I think, like, man, that, like, the Call of Duty maps from, like, Black Ops 1 through, like, oh, man, maybe, like, MW3, like, those are the good maps, right? Those are the great.
Still to this day, the Blackout Battle Royale map is still one of my favorite maps in any Battle Royale that's ever come out.
I completely agree with that. I was actually talking to a friend the other day, and I was just like, man, I am just counting down the weeks until this acquisition closes and Black Ops 4 goes on Game Pass and it gets some more players into it, because we've already seen with these 360 ones, they're getting players. Like, I went on and I played Black Ops 1 on Sunday morning with a friend, got into a game right away still. People are still playing these games now that Xbox is fit, or, yeah, Microsoft is. Let's be honest.
You telling me that's a possibility that we could get players in Blackout?
What'd you say?
You're saying that that's a possibility that we're going to get players into Blackout soon?
I mean, yeah, when it comes into Game Pass, I mean, we know for a fact that Game Pass brings players to, like, that's just a proven thing.
Oh my. And it's cross-platform, right?
No, it won't be cross-platform.
Oh, okay.
Xbox is going to be...
servers might go live again.
Well, the servers are still live for Blackout. It's just that there's not a lot of support there. There is still some
for the older games.
Oh, the older.
They might bring back servers for the older games.
Well, they already kind of did, like I said. The 360 ones work great, except for World at War. I did some tests over the last few months. World at War is the only one that was kind of still which kind of sucked. I would like for them to go back, but it is what. Next up on the news headlines, number 14. Devroro, how would you feel if I told you you could find yourself in debt? Real life money.
What's up?
Because of your Xbox.
I am in debt. It's called life.
Well, introducing a new Xbox Mastercard, a new way to earn more value for gaming. This is basically an Xbox credit card. I'll just kind of skip through some of the details, but the Xbox Mastercard will be available exclusively to Xbox insiders in the 50 United States beginning on September 1st, with availability to all Xbox players coming in 2024 US. With the Xbox Mastercard, players can earn card points for every $1 spent on purchases, including Xbox and Microsoft, earning 5 times points there. Streaming services, you earn three times the points there on things like Netflix, Disney Plus. Dining delivery services, 3 times the points for Grubhub and DoorDash, and everyday purchases get 1-time card.
When you read the headline, it sounds like a prank almost thing. It sounds like an April Fool's type of thing, but like reading.
Now, to be fair, PlayStation also has a credit card. They've had a credit card for a few years, so this is not like a brand new thing, never heard of.
But it sounds like if you buy a lot of games on Xbox, it's like a no-brainer.
So I'm going to be real with people, because I actually did some digging on this, and this is not on the Xbox Wire. So the bank is Barclay. Oh, it says Barclay on. Barclay has generally interest rates. I know because Eagles card used to be a Barclay card before they sold it to Comenity. Okay. It has a 29% interest rate. Yes, this Xbox Mastercard has a 29%. Look, man, I mean, there might be people watching this podcast, maybe people who are like me when they were like 18 and GameStop came out with a credit card and they were like, wait, a credit card just to buy my video game? Now, mind you, I'm very good at managing my credit, so it's like I made it work. To this day, I make it work, believe it or not. But I would like to advise you. I'm not saying don't take out a credit card for video games. If that's something you think you can do and understand you have to pay it back with interest, you do you and chase your dream. But I would implore you not to go with a credit card that has a 29%. I understand.
But you can put your gamer tag on it.
Look, and that's really cool. I'm not going to lie to you. That's really cool. The whole reason that I have an Eagles credit card is because I could have the Eagles logo. That was the only reason I got the Eagles credit card. Right? So I get it. I totally get it. Here's the thing.
Speaking of Eagles, are we all wearing an Eagles hat?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
Go Birds. But anyways, 29% is a lot. Just do yourself a favor. Go get a credit card somewhere else. Go to your bank and just walk in there and be like, hello, I would like a credit card. And they'll be like, we will absolutely give you a credit card. Well, that's not. But you could go, there are better places to get credit cards with way better deals. So yes, please, like, don't do it. Do not. And I don't know if the PlayStation one is just as bad because I don't know enough about it. But no, do not get this.
For those of you bad at math, that means if you spend $100 over the course of 1 year, you will have to pay back $129.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, imagine if you rack that up. Now rack that up a little bit. Maybe let's say you get a $500 limit and you spend like $400, and you can do the math again, figure it out. No bueno. Anyways, yeah. So
that's financial tips from the game room.
Look, man, I will legitimately give people, if you want to.
No, it's a good tip. I'm not.
No, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
We are not financial advisors. Please do with your own money.
I was gonna say I am not a financial advisor, but if you want to, like, if you aspire to have a game room and you aspire to have a room full of video games and collectibles and statues, and you want to know how I did it, I'll gladly tell you. But just keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. You know, you're taking my advice at your own peril. Might not work for you. So, you know, do you. Speaking of doing you, that didn't work. Nintendo has filed a patent for smart fluid in Joy-Con. Oh wait, yeah, I guess actually that did work. Perhaps to eliminate drift. The patent detailed a joystick that contains a magnetorological fluid, MRF, which changes velocity depending on the intensity of a magnetic field. In practice, it should mean that when the player moves the stick with their thumb, the fluid will thicken to build resistance. This resistance will then let the stick return to its original position once the player takes their thumb off it. So, nice to see Nintendo trying to possibly come up with ways to stop Joy-Con.
This sounds very complicated. I don't know the engineering.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessary. Like
I fixed all 4 of my Joy-Cons with a business card. It said cut it into a little square and just place it right there. And they've been working since for like the past 2 years.
I can't, like, this word. Look at this word. Look how many letters are in this word. It's
if it works, it works. I'm not, I think magnets also work.
There are 24 letters in this word.
Okay.
It's a 24-letter word. Of course you want to buy into it.
Magnetorological.
Tiger's all about it. Look, he showed up for it.
One of our mascots.
There he is. He's a star. The other 2 cats, they won't ever appear on camera. Tiger appears on camera all the time. Tiger is looking at himself in the. Look. He's look at him. He's Like, is that me on the TV?
He's like, is that me?
Am I internet famous? Jeff, we have the YouTube stream on my TV right now.
That's great.
Dead ass staring into it. That's amazing. Anyways, that's the patent. Let's move on to the last headline, and it's about Starfield. We will be talking more about Starfield in a few minutes. But Starfield is getting official mod support in 2024. Speaking to Famitsu and translated by IGN, Todd Howard didn't exactly say when official mod support would be released, but did suggest it's likely coming through the creation kit, also available for Fallout 4 and Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Once mods are supported, you'll be able to do almost anything, just like in our previous game, Howard said. Mod support will be available next year, and we love mods too, so we'll go all in.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's also really interesting on just like not related at all, but the fact that Todd Howard is doing interviews in Japan with Famitsu.
Yeah.
That's a really kind of like, wow, okay. Starfield, I mean, IGN Japan gave it a 10 out of 10. I mean, it might be doing well over there. It's doing well in general, but we'll talk about that in a few seconds. But that's going to do it for the news headlines. Before we get into the topic of the show, which is gamers' reactions to Starfield, let's go into the game releases for the week of September 11th. Coming out tomorrow September 12th. Eternites comes out on PS5, PS4, and PC with a price tag of $30. Nor Play With Your Food comes to PS5, PS4, PC, and Mac on September 12th. Couldn't find a price for that. Super Bomberman R2 comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC with a price tag of $50, September 12th. Oof, $50 for a Bomberman 2020. I don't know about that. Gunbrella comes to Switch and PC on September 13th for $15. It does. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the first one, the Teal Mask, comes out on the Switch on September 13th. Now, I believe that this price of $35 is for both DLCs as a pack, but do not quote me on that because I could not for sure figure it out. Because I hope it's for both. Because $35 for one DLC, I don't know. That's a lot. But
I could see it being 35.
I could, but I'm just saying that I don't know how justifiable that is. Because then you know that the other one's also going to be 35.
Oh yeah.
Ad Infinitum comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on September 14th for $40. AK Exotl comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the 14th. Deceit 2 comes out on the PC on the 14th. Dune Spice Wars comes out on PC on the 14th as well for $30. Monster Hunter Now comes out on iOS and Android on September 14th. Solar Ash comes out on Xbox Series and Xbox One on the 14th as well. This is a $40 title, but it's also coming to Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you don't need to spend the $40. Crew Motorfest comes to PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on the 14th as well. This is a gen split pricing of PS5, Xbox Series running at $70, PS4, Xbox One running at $60. Thunder Ray down PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on the 14th for $15. And lastly, Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster comes out on Nintendo Switch. These are GameCube ports or re-releases. Remasters come out on the 15th for $50. Devroro, what is your pick of the week?
Probably. Still playing. Sure, I have my list of Solar Ash. That game looks really cool. Like visually, it looks pretty cool. So.
See, I want to say Scarlet and Violet, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero.
Okay.
But I am still kind of burnt on that Pokemon Direct, so I'm going to go with Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster. Getting some GameCube games released. I think that we're kind of in that era where we're going to keep seeing these GameCube games coming out and getting re-released. GameCube, one of my favorite consoles of all time. So I'm definitely down. So that's my pick of the week. So a lot of releases this week. But
I got a question real quick. How on earth can they try to justify $50 for that Bomberman? I had the B-roll playing for it the whole time. That looks like a $10 game. Like what?
Yeah, man. I mean, again, that's why I said in 2023, paying $50 for Bomberman, which like Bomberman doesn't really do anything different with its formula, at least to my knowledge. It's just kind of generally the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a tough sell. That is a tough sell there. I think that's Konami.
Yeah. So
that makes a lot of sense though. Konami's trying to get back into the games, but like they're being very like slow about it. It's like, hey, here's some re-release. Here's $50 for Bomberman 2023. Okay, well, anyways. Let's move on to the topic of the show. Devroro, Starfield. So I've been playing Starfield some more. I love Starfield. This game is incredible. Like, I would say that my enjoyment of it since we did the pod last week has gone up. As I'm getting more accustomed to some things, as I'm continuing to learn some things. I did a really cool side quest called the Mantis. People that have played Starfield know what this is.
We talked about it last time.
Yes, it is an extremely cool thing, with some extremely cool stuff that you get. I've kind of tinkered with shipbuilding. Well, because here's the thing. I'm once again continuing to deal with this problem of over-encumber. Because then my cargo hold got full. And I'm like, I'm selling stuff too. It's resources. Like, I'm collecting resources.
How much money do you... Or do you have a good amount of money?
I have a good amount of money. And, I still send some money home to mom and dad for their groceries. You got to. You got to take care of them. Got to take care of the parents.
Or you
take care of
them. You know what I mean?
That got dark.
Take care of them. Just saying, it's an option. Starfield.
No, it's not actually.
You become Batman. It's not.
No, it's not. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it is.
Try it out.
Well, I know that the way you get rid of the perk is you basically just say like, "Hey, I'm not sending." One way. You could also just take care of them. There's taking care of them, and there's taking care of them. I guess.
Do you have enough money to buy like storage expansion for your ship?
So I did.
Okay.
And I do still have some money left over. I spent a good chunk of my money.
And it was worth it.
Yeah. So I basically, I don't have the starting ship in it. That's all.
Okay.
But so I basically added an extra piece of hull to my ship because I had to add spots where I could put things. So I added an extra like hallway on my ship, and which let me add 2 storage things. I only needed 1, but I wanted symmetry, so I went. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
So I've done that. I've been doing some more quests, both main and side. Just generally having an awesome time with the game. I mean, I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it.
Ty, you've been playing it for a while. Have you been loving it? You can talk about it now.
He finished it. He said in the Discord he finished it the other day. And about 60 hours, I think.
Are you still playing it as well, or are you you put it down?
So a lot of people are playing Starfield. In fact, Phil Spencer announced last week on the 6th that Starfield exceeded 1 million concurrent players across all platforms. He goes on to say, "Thanks to all players who helped us reach this great milestone, and congrats to Bethesda." 1 million people at the same time, concurrent players. Starfield also reached a total of 6 million players. Oh, excuse me. On September 7th, they announced that as of that morning, Starfield surpassed 6 million players already, making it officially the biggest Bethesda game launch of all time. And then also, while we're on the numbers, how well it's doing, Starfield has overtaken Skyrim's concurrent player record on Steam. According to SteamDB, the game hits its highest peak to date on this past Sunday, which was yesterday, when it reached 330,723 concurrent players, which is people playing at the same time, on Steam. This is higher than the peak number of concurrent players ever achieved by Skyrim, which hit 287,411 around 12 years ago. The figure suggests an extremely strong start for the game's sales on Steam, but this new peak concurrent player number isn't the highest ever reached by a Bethesda. Starfield still has some way to go to beat Fallout 4, which managed to hit the publisher's highest ever peak 8 years ago with 472,962. However, it's off to a very strong start. Ty says, "Do the UC quest." I'm going to. He likes the game a lot, but it has some issues. Playing it and it's fun to play. Right now, it's an 8 out of 10. Could climb to an 8.5. Okay. See, for me, it's definitely climbed up from the 8.5 I said last week. I would say it has. He says, "Is 6 million a good number given it's on Game Pass, PC, and Xbox, especially with the marketing push?" Absolutely. I think 6 million is a great number.
I don't know. I don't have anything really.
6 million in launch week? I mean, like, I think that's a great number. Yeah. In my opinion. I mean.
But I mean, you have COD developers claiming 100 million in launch. You know what I mean? Like, we had this many players sign up.
Yeah, but I think that it's Call of Duty. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I'm just throwing in the
biggest IP in video game. Plus, it's a multiplayer game. This is
true.
Multiplayer. So you're automatically like you like, obviously single player games, they sell well. They do sell very well. But in terms of,
I would have to compare numbers or something. I honestly don't know if that's a lot. I don't know.
I think Xbox touting it means number. That's just me personally.
Yeah,
they said with 6 million, it's the most successful Bethesda game launch to date. So that's.
I mean, I'm not surprised by that.
So that would mean that at the very least, it's outdoing.
When Elder Scrolls 6 games, that's going to be the best selling.
Probably. So, I mean, I think it's going very well for them. I'm enjoying the game, but Devroro, let me tell you about who's not enjoying Starfield. Let me tell you about. So, number one, Starfield is currently being review bombed. It happens almost every time a major game is released. Critic reviews come out, and then the players get their hands on it to see what all the hype is about. And at that point, it doesn't really matter anymore. Sites like Metacritic are sure to see a wave of people coming to leave negative reviews. As of publishing of the article that I'm reading, which is Insider Gaming, Starfield sits with a 5.9 Xbox Series X user score. and a 5.4 PC user score on Metacritic. At one point, however, those numbers were in the low fours when the person that wrote this article sat down to begin writing. You have some reviews that say, 2 worst graphics that I've ever seen with a 0 out of 10. Another 0 score doesn't even hide its intention. This is for review bombing the Horizon games. Also, y'all would have made a lot more money if y'all released it on. In an effort to combat the negative review bombing, others users are leaving 10 out of 10s without any sort of relevant comment. The one comment says, PlayStation fanboys botting the reviews to lower the score. 10 out of 10 rating. Amazing game. Love it. So that's number one. We got people obviously review bombing. Could you imagine that being something that you do?
Like me personally?
Yeah, like could you imagine like waking up and be like, I'm gonna go on Metacritic today and I'm gonna leave a review for a game that I haven't played and I'm gonna give it a 0 out of 10.
I'm so lazy. I'm too lazy to do that. I don't leave Yelp reviews. If I get bad service, oh well. It's
not even Deborah, we're not even talking about like
it's just like
getting
anything.
We're not even talking about getting service leaving a review. These people didn't play the game.
That too is.
What if we're talking about one of these journalists who gets paid $50 for a review?
We're talking about that. So
I don't know, I always felt like you shouldn't pay close attention to numbers. Read reviews, because like if you want to know how a game does technically do that, you don't want to buy a broken game or get into something really bad. Read many reviews, but like looking at numbers, a bunch of numbers, it just doesn't.
A little bit of behind the scenes stuff. Originally,
IGN didn't even have. It was like Ryan McCaffrey didn't even play, or like nobody at Xbox from the Xbox team. It was just like some guy apparently, right?
Yeah, it was Dan Stapleton.
Yeah, so it's like don't numbers from any publishing site. Some of them were giving Starfield 10 out of 10. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 game.
Well, here's the thing. I'm just gonna be honest. Would I give it a 10 out of 10 at this point? No. But I can understand why I would get a 10 out of 10. And I can understand, like, for me, like, remember we talked about, like, the menus and stuff, and I was like, man, some of these menus are so clunky. I don't have any issues with the menus now, because I've been playing the game. I'm, like, 20-ish hours in at this point, and I'm just like...
But it's not just the menus. There's a lot that doesn't make this game a 7 out of 10, but there's also a lot that...
For sure, and we're going to continue to do a deep dive into the game. Like, it's a long game, but I do eventually want to give it, like, my personal final review score. But let's go back to these players. So what I was saying was behind the scenes stuff. Originally, the topic of the show was going to be about game reviewers and if they've lost their touch with the audience. And because I had read like an interesting like think piece from Florian Mueller, who is like Foss Patents, who covers the Activision stuff, and like he was just doing some like thought process. He asked his followers like a poll if they thought that the media, some websites had biases, and turns out that one of the reviewers did have a bias, and even said in a video that he has a bias. Like he's anti Xbox. He's like, I don't like Xbox. He reviewed the game. Just like, yeah. So, there was definitely like a thought. I thought there was gonna be a good conversation there, and I think there is still a good conversation to be had. But when I saw all this stuff that's going on with Starfield and the communities and stuff, I was like, well, we're gonna change. We're gonna cover this because it's timely.
I get it.
I'm sure that topic will become relevant again in the future.
Yeah, I do think it's like it's one of those things where I think everyone has a bias.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh, for sure.
Yeah, like you can't help it. Every review you're gonna read has a bias. I think today is a lot easier to find someone who fits because of YouTube. You can find so many people reviewing Starfield. There's a list of people.
Yeah,
and I think that
you can find people that think Breath of the Wild is a good game.
I enjoyed it. I'm sorry that you don't like fun or whatever, but
I never said Breath of the Wild was a bad game. It's a 10 out of 10 game.
I think I remember you saying that.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I had your kind of memory right now.
I wonder if the wife's watching. She apparently I did this like once last week with the AI stuff, and she's like, "You did it for 5 minutes," and I was like, "I definitely didn't do it for 5."
She's not a liar.
Whatever.
But what I'm saying is, you could find someone who likes games similar to you, and like if they like the game, then I would say go with that. You know what I mean? If you're reviewing a fighting game, you're probably going to give it a lower score than a fighting game. It's one of those kind of things.
What's up to member the Day Trading Doge? Mods are already making the game 1,000% better. The menu mod is game changer.
Yeah, I told you about that
and
earlier.
Needs to be added to the game ASAP.
On PC as well.
So speaking of mods, we do have a little bit of stuff about that. But Starfield players are really trying. Actually, these aren't even Starfield players. That's a weird title by IG. PlayStation gamers are really trying to pretend that Starfield is on PlayStation. From the DualSense controller to play the game to creating custom limited edition Starfield PS5s and even modding the PlayStation Studios intro, some users have seemingly taken Bethesda's Xbox exclusivity hard. Players can use the PS5 DualSense controller to play Starfield quite easily, of course, since the game is on PC and the DualSense is fully supported there. A Redditor questioned a Facebook advert showing a Starfield player using a PS5 controller before many fans commented they'd be doing the exact same thing with the PC version. Ironically, upon the early access launch of Starfield on September 1st, some users did have trouble getting their PS5 controller to work in the game, though it has its easy fix. So this picture that Jeff is showing
It's a really nice looking PS5.
It is a Starfield themed PS5.
It looks really nice.
Very weird. It's a controller and a DualSense console. And then PC players have modded the PlayStation Studios intro, like the video intro, into Starfield. So there's a mod for Starfield that just puts the PlayStation Studios video in the game.
That's fine.
Just why?
It's Jeff. The thing is that like, here's the thing, and I'm gonna say it, and Deborah, we have this discussion a lot where you say I don't like PlayStation, and my response to that. My response is that it's not that I don't like PlayStation, it's that I don't like PlayStation fans. I think PlayStation fans, not PlayStation fans, PlayStation fanboys are way worse than Xbox fanboys and Nintendo fans.
You're all part of the same. You're just as bad as them.
I'm just telling you what I see.
On the other side.
When I watch, so like for example, and Ty can back me up because I know for a fact, based off Ty's things in the Discord, a lot of Xbox fan content creators who are on the Xbox ecosystem, whether it be your Randall Thors or your Colt Eastwoods, in all of their podcasts, they're always like, oh, I can't wait to play. I'm playing my Xbox and it's my primary console, but like, man, Spider-Man looks really good. I can't wait to play Spider-Man. I can't wait to play this. I can't wait to play that. You know, and to see, like, when I watch like a PlayStation podcast, that never happens on a PlayStation. And also, not even that, but it's just the PlayStation fanboys are so toxic that there is an Xbox content creator called, his name is Gaz, hilarious dude. He makes these videos called The Sauce, and it's literally just him shitting on Sony ponies. And it's hilarious because these things that the PlayStation fanboys say are wild to me. Like, he literally takes direct videos of their streams, and it's just like, this is what the PlayStation fans are saying right now. And it's insane. So yeah, like, PlayStation fanboys are way worse than Xbox or Nintendo fanboys. And that's
all I would say as an ex-PlayStation fanboy myself, because I definitely used to be all like console wars, PlayStation master race. Definitely not like that anymore. All I'll say is go play Baldur's Gate 3. The storyline in that is 10 billion times better. So go for it.
Ty's jumping in. He says that I'm right. Xbox content creators are a lot more chilled. They play PlayStation games. PlayStation fanboys are wild. They just crap on anything else. It's the truth. It's just factual. And here's the thing. I am not about the console. I'm not. Am I critical of PlayStation? Yes, because I don't agree with a lot of things that they do. But I'm going to be playing Spider-Man in October. I have a PS5. It sits right next to my Xbox Series X and Nintendo Switch, right over there. Like, I want video games to be good. I love video games, and I want all three to be good, which is why when I see Xbox not delivering on first-party support, or when I see PlayStation really treating its customers like dog shit, or when I see Nintendo just refusing to fucking put Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch Online, I'm going to call them out for it. Like, that's just what it is. PlayStation fanboys, though, they're something else. Starfield has been flooded with mods ahead of its launch. Again, some of them just being really weird, stuff like that. Now, Devroro, I know you're probably saying like, oh, this is just people being, mods are one thing, etc., etc. What if I told you that people that work at PlayStation, making PlayStation, would you say it's fair that they're allowed to like video games in general?
Yeah.
Do you think it's weird that I had to ask that question just now?
Yeah, because I know where this is going.
Well, for as long as video games have been around, says Insider Game, console wars have existed, and perhaps fought as strongly as ever due to social media and the ease of sparking a debate or argument with fellow gamers. It isn't unusual for one side of the war to call for cancellation or firing of people in the games industry. But it's happening with Starfield now. Which saw one gamer call for many top gaming journalists to be fired for enjoying the game. Don't worry, we have a good laugh about it. Unfortunately, the console war also affects people who make the game, as they too face online attacks for simply liking video games. Popular gaming YouTuber Alana Pierce, who we talked about last week, she was the one that flew to Pluto. She also put out a video today about she put 50,000 potatoes in a room in Starfield. So she upped that viral video. I haven't watched it yet, but she did it. She's been enjoying it, and she came under fire by PlayStation fans for playing and promoting it, which is an Xbox exclusively, obviously. In a video posted to her YouTube channel, Alana Pierce and for those that don't know, Alana Pierce, she is a writer at Sony Santa Monica, and she worked on God of War Ragnarok. She did writing for this. In a video posted to her YouTube account, Alana Pierce goes on to post on X, Twitter, and how absurd it is, noting that she had a 10-minute conversation with the creative director of God of War Ragnarok, Cory Barlog, about how they are enjoying Starfield. He was one of the people the poster tagged to try to get her fired. It's no secret that the console wars have raged on. Did they not? Oh, I thought they had the tweet here. Maybe they took it down. But they had the tweet on here where the guy was like, at Cory Barlog, your employees are playing Xbox games. She needs to be fired immediately. And he's just like, Starfield's a great game. What are you talking about? It's weird. So let me ask you this, Devroro. Could you imagine yourself, just role play with me. You just woke up. Close your eyes. Just woke up. Open your eyes. Okay, 10 minutes pass.
All right.
You wake up. You go on Twitter.
Oh, why am I doing that already? That's already awful.
You go on Twitter, and you
X,
see...
What is X?
You see that a popular YouTuber who works for PlayStation is enjoying an Xbox game. And you get mad. Get mad. And then so you go to that little box on Twitter where you like to make tweet on Twitter. The Zeets, it's on Twitter. And you type in at Cory Barlog, the head of PlayStation. I can't believe that your writers and employees are playing Xbox games. They need to be fired right away. Then hit send tweet. How do you feel?
Horrible.
It's sad, man. It's really sad.
It's also honestly, I don't even know why this made the news move along. We already know that game makers play games. You know, like no one plays exclusively on one console.
No.
It's
ridiculous. It's like, do you realize that the Game Awards happen and like everyone comes into one room? Could you imagine like they're in the room and like, I don't know, like Phil Spencer is sitting next to like Doug Bowser and he's just like, I hate you, Doug. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It's not how it works. I mean, I actually do believe that PlayStation hates it. I think Sony hates Microsoft with a passion.
And I think that's you. I think you're.
No, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I think it's factual. They literally went to court against them through the FTC.
That's different. We talked about how that had to happen.
But anyways, so yeah, that's what's going on with Starfield. Obviously, a lot of people are loving it. A lot of people are playing it, and then there's obviously those weirdos out there who are spending their days instead of playing Starfield, just review bombing. Well, I guess they can't play it if all they have is PlayStation.
So, speaking of the PlayStation fanboys, Rome,
yeah.
I kind of came up with an interesting analogy for them. Let's see if you think this fits. So, WWE fans to PlayStation and AEW fans to Xbox. AEW is this up-and-coming new company, new console, essentially. Like, doesn't seem that way now, but when we were kids, PlayStation was like a thing, and then Xbox came along, right? So I feel like it's those PlayStation fans being like, no, we're the master race. We were here first, blah, blah, blah. Because they see the Xbox coming like a freight train, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think that analogy has a lot. I don't know if Sony hates Xbox as Ty, but they certainly want to destroy them. That's what I mean. Yeah, that was more so what I was going with.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a decent analogy, Jeff. I think that, I mean, if we're talking in a wrestling fan base sphere, I mean, obviously there are people that enjoy both companies the same way there are people like myself who enjoy Xbox and PlayStation. But I think that you are really onto something in that the WWE fan base, the large percentage of them are really fanatical in a sense that they will act like other things don't exist, or if they do acknowledge that they exist, just call them out as being terrible without even watching them.
Exactly like the
I
review bombing.
right. So I think in that way, yeah, it's a really good analogy. The age thing can get a little weird, but so I'm not gonna nitpick the analogy.
No, yeah.
Because I mean, theoretically, PlayStation was only around for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
Xbox
I
came
like
around.
just came up with it. I was trying to
Yeah,
throw some stuff around.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's why I said I wasn't gonna nitpick it. But I think like the bare bones, or not even the meat and potatoes of your analogy is very spot
Nice.
on.
Yay.
But I mean, yeah, it's like, look, man, like, and we've talked about it in recent weeks too. It's like, yes, the headlines every week that I make are very Xbox and Nintendo heavy. That's just because nothing happens with PlayStation. Like, again, like Roblox coming to PlayStation, I don't even like. I could have cut that, but I wanted to include it because I don't ever have anything to talk about with PlayStation because there's just not a lot going on. Now, when Spider-Man comes out, gonna do a review of that, gonna give my thoughts on it. But like, they haven't gone to any of these. They're not going to these showcases. They're kind of not really talking about anything that they're doing. We don't know what they're working on outside of these live service games that many people aren't really a fan of. And I think their fans just right now have nothing to play, so now they're just gonna hate on the other guy. It's weird. Play games, enjoy games. Games are great. Would you agree with that? Is that something we can agree on? The video games are great.
I hope so.
I think they're great.
Not always.
It's not true.
All right, we'll see.
Just because something's bad doesn't mean it's not great.
What?
Oh man.
Dude, I wish you
asked,
could
how
see.
many players does Starfield need for it to be a success? 10 million, 15 million, 20 million? I don't know what Microsoft is looking at in terms of like what they would consider a success. That's a great question. I mean, we know that like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom numbers obviously are really up there. What's up, Coog? Bills are 10-3 over the Jets right now. Rodgers injured and carted off.
No, I says how important is Game Pass momentum Starfield. I think Starfield is gonna have to hold them over for.
No, I don't think so. Forza Motorsport comes out like next month.
The motorsport.
It's gonna move Game Pass. It always does well. It just does. What do you mean? It's factual.
People definitely like the Horizon more.
For sure. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I don't think motorsport is something like.
This is being touted as like the
from
next
Starfield
gen.
to Motorfield. I doesn't.
I get your point, but also he's talking about the momentum like after Starfield in terms of like Lies of P, for example, which Lies of P coming to Game Pass later this month.
Again, that.
Well, no, it's not. But
the holdover.
I think it's pie.
I mean, people are going to be playing for a long time.
Well, that's
it's a massive ass game.
I'm hoping they will. That's the goal.
It's seeming that they
have
will
to support. They have to support it as well,
which they will.
But I don't think Forza or Lies of keep that momentum built.
Right, but I don't think that's Ty's question. Ty's question is how important is it for Game Pass to continue after Starfield with coming out?
Oh, it's very important. That's what I mean, and I think Starfield's gonna have to be the one that holds it up for a while. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, it's their big release.
Yeah, I don't think Lies of P or Motorsport or whatever else they have coming to do it.
I don't think that they're going to hit Starfield numbers.
First party.
Well, I mean, Lies of P is not a first party. But I get your point. I mean, look, I mean, you can't expect like nobody puts out first parties like monthly. Like that's just not realistic.
Honestly, no. I do think Starfield's going to be big until the end of the year.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we don't know what their Well, we kind of have an idea of what Xbox's 2024 looks like. I mean, probably Avowed, probably Fable, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, or Hellblade 2.
Yeah, those are games that will definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, like the games are coming, and I would expect one a quarter, like they've said. I think the momentum for Game Pass is definitely important, and like yeah, you're not gonna have another release the size of Starfield for a while, but I think you can kind of let Starfield kind of be there, like as a pillar right now for Game Pass until your next big first party game. And the way Xbox can keep that Game Pass momentum going is just doing what you're doing. Like, have games come to Game Pass. Have games that people are excited for coming to Game Pass day and date. The indie games. Like, again, it's why We talked about PlayStation Plus last week, and it's like it's a terrible service because like almost no games come to the service day and date. It's just factual. Outside of Stray and like one or two others, it's like there's nothing coming. Whereas like Xbox, like Lies of P, that game is launching that day, the same day it's coming out on Game Pass. So I mean, just keep up stuff like that. Got to see where we're going to be at with Tokyo Game Show, which is 10 days away. Again, I would expect some Game Pass stuff there. I asked, what are our top four nominees for Game of the Year based on what I've played so far? Well, I mean, for me, I would say my 4 Game of the Year nominees: Zelda, Octopath Traveler 2, Starfield.
Baldur's Gate
Oof.
3.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about what I've played.
Oh, okay,
Just-
okay.
Oh, just what
What I've played. I'm trying to think. Hold on, I'm gonna look at my.
I mean, I would say based on what's come out, not necessarily played, definitely Baldur's Gate 3. I'd put Starfield in there as well. Like you said, Octopath Traveler and Tears of the Kingdom. I think that's going to actually be our nominees.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff with those 4 games.
Looking
Yeah.
at what I've played this year, my 4 games would be Zelda, Octopath Traveler 2, Starfield, and because I really like Fire Emblem for right now, Fire Emblem. But I also really liked Resident Evil 4. The toss up. I think by the end of the year, that 4th spot will be taken by something that hasn't, whether it be Spider-Man or Assassin's Creed, maybe. I think those are 2 games that, like, looking forward, I'm very excited for.
I like the list you have, Jeff. I might.
What was his list? Sorry, I was looking at my.
I just added Baldur's Gate 3 instead of Fire Emblem.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think that game's definitely going to be there at the end of the year in the discussions, obviously.
I mean, do you guys know, is there anything else coming out this year that you think's going to be a contender for Game of the Year? Because if not, I think Baldur's Gate 3's got it locked up.
Yeah, I personally think Baldur's Gate 3 has it locked for this year.
Yeah.
I would preach,
which is crazy because like a Zelda game.
I would caution against recency bias. I mean, like,
it's not even recency bias.
Everyone was just as high on Zelda when it happened.
Yeah.
That's just factual. It's just like Baldur's Gate was the last big thing.
Yeah.
So that, like, we're talking about it happens all the time in games where like people forget, like, oh wow, like this game came out in February and like nobody remembers it when it comes to the end of the year, but like it came out and it was excellent. But you know, it's like,
did Breath of the Wild win Game of the Year for the year that it came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just that's why I don't think the recency thing is too big of a deal. What I want to say is, like, Baldur's Gate 3 feels almost similar to what happened with Elden Ring, whereas like it's one of those games that, like, I don't know.
Look, would I be surprised if Baldur's Gate 3 wins Game of the Years? No, but I think
those are games that came out that didn't. There were sequels, but they didn't feel like sequels just because of how big of a leap it was. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom feels like a sequel.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to be a really interesting conversation to have at the end of the year. And will Baldur's Gate win some Game of the Year awards? Absolutely, it will. It absolutely will. Just like Zelda will win some Game of the Year awards. Believe it or not, probably Starfield will win some people's Game of the Year awards.
Yeah,
it's been an excellent year for video games, you know, and so
everyone will win something except Golem.
I mean, yeah, if you ask me what's coming out for the rest of this year that I think could be something special, I mean,
it'll either be a surprise,
Spider-Man,
maybe
Mario Wonder, if that's your thing. I think that game's going to be excellent for what it is.
Yeah, it's probably like best platform.
Yeah. I mean, any other year, I think that would make the conversation. I don't know if it'll make the conversation this year, but I mean, yeah, Spider-Man's the big one that comes to mind for me. I don't think Assassin's Creed's gonna come anywhere close.
I think it'll be great.
I think that's gonna be a game that I really love, but I don't know if it's going to be.
I think commercially, I could see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like, when we
like mind blowing.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Let's kind of try to lay this out, right? So the Game Awards usually has 6 games nominated. So let's try to predict these 6 real quick. And we'll do this more closer to the show. But so, like, Zelda, Baldur's Gate.
Octopath Traveler.
I don't know if Octopath will make it.
I don't think it will either. I think Hogwarts will make it.
Hogwarts we forgot about Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy will probably be nominated.
You don't think Octopath Traveler will be nominated?
Octopath Traveler is one of my favorite games of, like, the last 10 years. Don't know if it's going to make Game of the Year because of how packed it was.
I just want to see, like, the meta.
I don't think it was super high, believe it or not.
I thought it was.
I don't remember. Let's find out.
10 out of 10 Metacritic.
This game is phenomenal. Like it's just like, do I think it's going to? Unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't.
Probably Call of Duty. Call of Duty's always.
Did the stream freeze, Jeff? Maybe it's just YouTube.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, I think we had a problem with the YouTube stream, but I think it's working.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I would like to, like, what's my game of the year right now? I'm not willing to disclose that at this time. I'm still giving it thought, and obviously also the year is not over yet. So
I told you I played about an hour of Baldur's Gate 3. It's just in the first hour you're just like.
But I would also say that like that is your kind of.
Yeah, that is definitely my.
You love like the Diablo, Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
And again, like Diablo came out this year. That'll probably get some nods in Game of the Year discussions. Like there's a lot of excellent games this year. And man, the end of the year game award season.
It's a really good year for.
Which you know what that means. The game award season is going to be extremely toxic. It's going to be a lot of people stabbing each other. It's like, what do you mean Zelda didn't win Game of the Year? What do you mean Baldur's Gate didn't win Game of the Year? Like it's all fun. As long as like It Takes Two doesn't win again. That's like an all-time bad pick for a game of the Year. I was so bored when we played that game.
You were bored when you played that game?
Like there were fun times. Yeah, the one area like with the snow area, like in that town when they were in the snow globe or whatever. I was falling asleep. I think I did fall asleep. It was nowhere near as good as No Way Home or No Way Out. It was nowhere near as good as that game. Fine, you could be wrong. Why is it whenever we have a disagreement, you just jump on, he just doesn't like video games? Like, that's clearly not true.
You hate games. I didn't raise you.
I don't hate games. I love video games.
Say so.
You know how much money I spent on video games in a year to love video games?
Oh. You won't even play Alan Wake 2. You were so excited for that game?
Well, there's no physical copy. How can I buy it? I can't buy it. It's not possible to buy it.
It is.
If I walk into my terrible GameStop tomorrow, like I would like to buy Alan Wake 2, sir.
Terrible GameStop. Why would they have it? They barely had your game release game.
Well, what if I went to a good GameStop? They would be like, "Sir, we don't have. It doesn't exist."
I mean, that just sounds like your original GameStop. I don't know what to tell you. Stop going to GameStop.
It's not on Amazon either. I'll tell you that much. Ty says Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game. Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. So I think that's gonna do it here for us tonight. He
did ask one question.
Oh, did he? What was his question? I missed it.
Star Wars Outlaws. Forgot about that game.
Oh, right, he did ask. He said, "Will
but
that be saying that compared to Starfield?"
The handhelds are playing Starfield at 40 to 60 per second. Does it make sense for Xbox to get rid of the Series S and focus on the handheld?
No, I don't think it makes sense for them to do that.
I disagree. There's so many people. The reason that the Windows-based ones are so like. We had the ROG Ally that we.
Well, that's why I say no. I think Xbox probably looks at that ROG Ally and they're probably like, "This is what we can use."
But if you could have something dedicated Xbox, because the UI for both of those are really bad for like the two big ones right now.
Okay.
If we could have something dedicated Xbox, I do. Great. I would love that.
Personally, I mean, I get it.
Xbox, a Switch, but
I just don't think there's a
big enough market.
I don't think the market's there for it.
We're getting there to where it is. To have a Game Pass or whatever you want to call it, like in your hand, that's not your phone, like something that's a little bit more powerful and dedicated just to Xbox.
Again, I honestly think that they view the cloud and phones as the way to do that. I don't think that they're going to come out with dedicated hardware.
I do think I agree. I think they're sticking with the cloud because they're putting so much money in.
I think what you're saying they agree with, but how they're going to do it is not what you want.
They're going to do it with the cloud.
They're going to do it with the cloud. They're going to do it with phones. They're going to do it with existing tablets and stuff. So like they don't have to make it dedicated. It's just like, hey, look, like we want the cloud to be at a point where we're just going to do that.
But I do hope that they just get rid of the S.
I mean, because like you can go on Amazon and you can buy things that are made for Xbox cloud gaming to plug onto your phone, like controllers.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that.
Like these things exist. Like that's what Xbox is looking at is that alternative. So,
but something locally.
In terms of the question, will they look into making a new hardware handheld? No, they won't do. They're going to look at what they're doing now, and they're going to make what they're doing now better, and that's what they're going to do. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Would I buy an Xbox handheld? Probably not.
I would.
It's not for me. I know you would. I don't think I would. But yeah, I'm gonna keep playing Starfield. I'm gonna keep working my way through that. I'm excited for this Nintendo Direct this week. Maybe I'll do something, record it wise or something. I don't know. I mean, if the Direct's on Wednesday, maybe you come over Thursday and we record something before the Eagles game. Yeah, we can maybe do that if you want. You're gonna keep playing Zelda, I'm guessing. Maybe, hopefully, try to finish it.
Yo, a quick tip for you with the Mantis ship and outfit. So if you continue flying that ship, you get certain dialogue throughout the universe of like, "Oh my God, you're the Mantis" and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
I know. Yeah.
you can change the ship around in the shipbuilder, but it'll still be the Mantis ship. It'll still be that what's it called again? The light something?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it'll still be that ship, so you can still change it around.
People have found a loophole with shipbuilding that you get shot at the center of mass. So
Yeah.
they're just building these giant like square ships.
Yeah.
And the bullets just going straight through the middle. So they're invulnerable. I think that's pretty cool.
It's really funny.
I hope they patch that out though.
I
It's
wouldn't.
funny. You wouldn't?
No,
No.
I would just let them be like, hey, look, they were smart enough to figure that out. Like, let them do it.
No, that was actually they weren't supposed to be able to do that. They found a glitch that let them use a certain item in the building that you weren't supposed to use. So it's not technically like in the game.
Yeah. Well, this has been episode 39 of the Game Room Podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight in the chat. Thank you to Ty, the Doge, the Coog. Really appreciate it. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to get, notifications, all that stuff. So when we go live, become a member, get the really cool arcade cabinet badge to show that you support us and we appreciate it. You also get AEW wrestling emojis to use in the chat as well. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow Jeff. You can follow me. You cannot follow Devroro. He does not want to be followed. He goes on Twitter and wants PlayStation to fire employees, but he doesn't.
I don't even have that.
Oh, that's funny. If you like pro wrestling, we do the AEW review shows for Dynamite and Collision with the Broken Tables podcast. So, if you like pro wrestling and video games, you're in the right place. Should be a good week of content here with Dynamite and Collision and, again, Nintendo Direct, possibly. Maybe we'll do something for that. That's pretty much it. Until next time. Catch you guys later.